I'm gonna say the announcements and we'll jump into our program. First, I wanted to mention, does anybody here use Facebook or Instagram? Okay, so we are trying to increase our social media presence with ASONP. So we are ASONP_907 for Instagram and Facebook. So if you could like us and follow us and, you know, do whatever you do to
Get your friends
to to follow us, and that would be great. Is anybody interested in doing a day trip to Prince William Sound this year? We did it last year and it was a lot of fun. Yeah, okay. And if anybody has any other ideas for a day trip, just if you could kind of send them to Kathy or me or the board, that would be great.
We're trying to maybe do more outings this summer, and 16 of us, I think it was 16 that went out to Prince William Sound this summer with Lazy Otter Charters. We had a beautiful day and we just had a really good time, and
Reasonably priced.
it was it was reasonably priced. I know the other person that I think Jen was the only one that didn't have fun with it.
Oh, I did.
They didn't last year because we really wanted to go see Barry Arm, and nobody's been out there since it, you know, the place was really, but they can. So, I will ask them because I think it'd be really fun to do a landing somewhere and just let them know that's what we want to do. Usually if they go out to Blackstone Glacier, they'll do landings, and I think there's a couple of other places that they go. So I'll just do some research. I'll give them a call. I'll give them a shot.
What sort of price point do we have?
It was like 300, was it 325 or 295, something like that?
Another idea.
I think it was a couple hundred or something.
They're not-
Yeah.
Because they refunded us $50. Because we didn't have the.
Yeah. Here, I'll look into it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did that a couple of years ago.
yeah, and how many people can that trip take?
Take anybody from partners like last year, I think 2 years.
Yeah, Bruce Herman kind of set that up, didn't he,
Yeah,
for you
yeah.
guys? Yeah,
Yeah. That was fun.
yeah. So that's another one, all right.
Okay, yeah, so if anybody has any ideas, anything they'd really like to see us do this summer, just reach out and let us know. We'll see what we can do. Carl, you wanna?
Yeah, it was 187.50. Yeah, it's $200. Yeah.
$200.
Yeah.
Was what it costs. Sounds good.
So when I was a fresh college graduate, I worked up in the Bounty Waters Canoe Area Wilderness for a couple of summers as a guide. And I was already into photography at the time, but living up there and working up there really got me into nature photography. But it was really the work of Jim Brandenburg that got me into nature photography, and particularly using my photography for conservation. And he's been a distant mentor of mine for all my photography career. And I don't know if you all know, but he passed away the other day on April 4th. He had about a 7-month battle with sound like particularly pernicious type of cancer. And so I don't know how many of you are familiar with his work. Hopefully a lot of you are. If you aren't, his work is amazing. His conservation work is amazing. But one of the things that he particularly became known for was near his property in Ely. It was right on the edge of the wilderness. And he became very familiar with a pack of wolves there and did a lot of photography of them over the years.
It's a book.
Yeah, I mean,
Did he make a book about that?
Ely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ely,
Thank you.
yeah.
Ely.
So a recommended book for his wolf photography would be Brother Wolf. And then, but another one that he did that was really amazing. He did a 90-day project where he decided, and this was way pre-digital. He decided he was going to shoot one shot of Kodak Gold negative film, Kodak Gold 400 negative film, one snap a day for 90 days from fall equinox to winter solstice. And he only took one picture a day. And it was just a creative exercise, put it in a drawer, forgot about it. A friend of his from Nat Geo was over and told him about the project and convinced him to let Nat Geo publish the entire work. with him having complete color control, and then it became the book Chased by the Light. So if you ever want to be really inspired to get out of your creative, cobwebs, the Chased by the Light story is amazing. So I just wanted to acknowledge his passing and that he was one of the great contributors to nature photography in my lifetime.
Thank you.
One last announcement, Rarefied Light is open for anybody who does fine art photography. I have the postcards put out on the table out there. The call closes on June 11th, and you would enter at callforentry.org and just search for Rarefied Light. Also, there's a workshop that goes along with it, and it's actually on intentional camera movement. And she does a lot of, Stephanie Johnson is the photographer, the juror, and the photographer. She does a lot of natural nature work with intentional movement. So that I think is going to be a good one. So the juror lecture will be July 17th at UAA Fine Arts Building, and the workshop will be the 18th, 19th, and 20th. So, and you can find all the information out on this card and also Alaska akphotocenter.org.
Do you have this on the table?
Yeah, these are on the table out there. And with that, does anybody else have any announcements?
I'm gonna have a photography show in May. Some of my ice photographs at, the writer's block. Gee,
It's the mind block.
Yeah, I'm calling it Ice the Shapeshifter.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's great. All right, we'll look forward to seeing that.
When does that start?
First Friday in May,
Okay, cool.
the full name is six to go.
Can you,
Friday.
Send me a little blurb
Yeah, I
about that
will.
and I'll get
I
it
will.
posted on our
Yeah,
website.
we should put it on our Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we could also put it in the e-news.
And there's a Spinard second Saturday too, I guess.
Okay,
Oh, cool.
great.
The block is in Spinard, they do
How many pieces you got, Bill? How many are you displaying?
About 20, I think.
Alright.
I'm still framing and my brain's out right now, so
Okay,
could go higher.
okay,
It's just gonna run out of frames. I'm cannibalizing everything in the house. you know.
okay. Yeah, one of those deals, yeah.
One of those deals. Ooh. Oh.
Look at my
Ooh.
collection, how's it over?
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
Seriously, we're gonna remodel.
Okay, with that, Doug will introduce our speaker tonight.
So it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Donna Gail Shaw, who's going to be talking to us about trail camera photography and videography. Some of you maybe saw she was featured in an article in the Daily News last September. Had some great pictures in that, and great story also. To go along with that. She also is one of the administrators on the Muldoon Trail Camera Photo and Video Facebook page. If you get a chance to see it, it's very impressive to see what gets posted on that page. Maybe talking to us about trail cameras, what they are, how they work, showing us some great work also. So
Thank you.
with that,
Yeah, appreciate that.
I'm just an old grandma out having fun. That's what I do. Is this Zoom thing operating like it's supposed to, tech guy? I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're the tech person. I do tech at my church and also for an organization I belong to. So when I came in today and somebody said I had a tech guy, I was so happy. What I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about how I got started in using game cameras. The bulk of the presentation will be showing you the images from my cameras. And then I'll end with a few tips for buying the cameras and a few tips for how to place a camera that I've learned by trial and error over the years. And then, of course, I'll have questions at the end, or if you have questions that you want to ask at any time, I'm willing to take those. Can everyone hear me okay? When I walk away from this stand, does it mess this up? Do I need to take this with me?
Yeah, or you clip it on yourself. Got to clip there.
For Zoom people.
Yeah.
I think I can get it. I'm probably making a lot of noise on Zoom right now, though.
Okay.
I can give you a magnet too if you want. It's got built in there.
I've got it. I just can't get it there. You know, I've got the old lady finger. So there we go. All right. So I retired from UAA and just started walking. And so in my neighborhood and out on trails near my house. And I met a guy out there a couple of times, really nice, friendly man. And one day he said, "Oh, I have game cameras out here. Would you like to go see them?" And I didn't know what a game camera was. And so I said, "Sure." So he took me to a camera tied to a tree and showed me the camera. And then he took the little SD card out of it and shared the pictures with me after we got home. And I was very fascinated by that. I enjoyed that. And he took me out there a couple of more times. And then I think I became more like his nagging wife or something after a bit, because he liked to look at his photos. And a lot of times he would look at them just on the camera. He had the kind where you can just open it up and punch a button and view them real quickly out in the field and whatever. And he'd do that, but he wouldn't share them with me. And I started pestering him and nagging him. I said, I want to see what you got on your game camera. And one day he looked at me and he said, "You know, you can get your own camera." And I realized at that point that I'd been a nag. And that Christmas, a friend of mine got me a camera, a $60 stealth cam that I still use. And if any of you follow me on my Facebook page, it's the Bunny Cam. I still use it. It is 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, out all the time. It does have a bear tooth hole in it, though. It is no longer waterproof and hasn't been waterproof probably for 5 years. So that's how I got started. With that one stealth cam, I now have 9 cameras at work. I probably have 15 total cameras, but 9 that actually work. I place my cameras in this area, the Far North Bicentennial Park area, to orient you where I am. Do you all know where the gas line trail is? Do you know where the Clutina Drive trailhead is? It's off of Clutina Street on the east side of town. It's not Clutina Street, but Clutina Drive. And you can access the trail there. And that trail goes all this way, and then it turns this way, and you can go to North Bivouac. And then over here is the Campbell Airstrip Road, where the nice Mama Black Bear is now with her 2 cubs. Are any of you photographing her?
Still there.
She's still there. She's got cubs in the tree. Okay, y'all need to go photograph her. Anyway, so my cameras are very close to the Clutina Drive trailhead, and some of them are on the North Fork Campbell Creek. I put them on the creek in the summertime to catch the brown bears fishing. So I'm real close to houses, real close to neighborhoods. I don't have a camera that's any farther than, the farthest might be 3/4 of a mile from a neighborhood. So I want you to know I'm real close to a neighborhood. And a lot of people watch my site because they want to know what's in their walking area. I have several set sites that I just discovered over time. I have one that's called The Log, and it's a log that had fallen into the creek. And so when I post that one, I say, "This is at The Log." You will see pictures of the log. The Bunny Cam, the one that I have out all year round to catch the snowshoe hare and the predators, or there. I have a bear rub tree and my bear rub tree fell down this year. It got blown down in the January windstorms. But there are lots of bear rub trees out there. I found plenty of them. Just not in safe locations. I want to be relatively safe. I would like to see what's going to kill me before it does. And then I've got one that's called the Pump House, and it's at the Anchorage Waste and Water Utility Pump House, real close to a neighborhood. So my images are shared on the Facebook page, Muldoon Area Trail Photos and Videos. Let's see if we can get there. It looks like this if you get there. Oops, it didn't come up. Do you know, tech guy, do you know how to get it on the screen?
Oh,
Do I have to get out of my PowerPoint?
oh, you're on the internet. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hooked up to the internet. I didn't know you were going out on the internet.
Okay. So we won't do that. All right, I did have I was taking you to my page.
Oh, I probably have to sign in. Actually, it might be hooked up to the internet. It looks like.
You want
it
to
is.
give it a try or not?
Yeah, give it a try. You probably have to sign in. I didn't know you were going to Facebook or anything.
I actually have several things that I wanted to go to,
Okay.
so
It hasn't been-
I'll let you do it, tech guy.
Planning place here.
No, tech guy. Tech guy. That's my Facebook.
Okay. Oh, it's not showing because it's the PowerPoint, so you have to get out of PowerPoint.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Sorry. Now, you might have to. I think the projector kind of takes over. Might have to pop out of PowerPoint. Presentation. You have to go back and forth between times. So if you just go to command and tab, and go to back to PowerPoint and then you do your show.
Command and tab?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my Facebook page. And we are not at my Facebook page. We're actually at it, but I mean, it's only showing you the picture of it. There we go. So that's the name of the page. And that's where I post all of the photos and videos from the area. What did you say was on there?
This was, I did. I looked and I was in 2020.
Oh. I was trying to see if the bear would show up. There it is. This is not from my game camera. But this is the tree den or den tree, whatever you want to call it. It's hollow. And the babies are in there. There are 2 cubs in there. Yeah, you'll see it in a minute. She goes all the way up and goes butt down in. Yep. I didn't catch her going butt down in, but that's how she does it. Yeah. But you see the little V up there? She'll go through the hole in there, but I don't have that on video.
Well, so how long ago was this?
Last week.
You were filming this.
That was just with my phone. All right, what was the command want? What was the key sequence, tech guy?
Command and tab. Hold your finger on the command and then.
Command tab. And I'm back. Yay, it worked. Yay, yay, yay.
Play from currents.
I am going to give a warning, but I don't think it, with this group, you might not need it, but there is sex in here. There's also death. And yeah. So my cameras capture what's happening out there in the real world, and some bad things can happen out there, so.
You do play from current slide up at the bar there? Nope, you went to the start. Oops.
Oh, well, it didn't matter.
So.
I wasn't very far in.
Anytime you want to go to the internet, you gotta back out of the slideshow.
I'll ask you again in a minute.
Okay.
All right, so I told you about the bear rub tree that blew down. This is the actual tree that is now down flat on the ground. So I accidentally found this one day out hiking in the wintertime with a group of people that I hike with. And this is up on a hill, and down below is the Campbell Creek. So when I put a camera on this tree, I can actually see down into the creek to see the bears that are going to kill me. So if I see bears down there, I can get out of there and not check the cameras that day. If I don't see bears, then I check the cameras. And sometimes I get surprised they come up out of the creek and I didn't see them, and they come wondering what I'm doing. But anyway, the bears do a lot of scent marking, and this was a favorite tree. There are other trees they scent mark on. Here's one, a black bear scent marking a tree. That's the creek that I told you was down the hill. That's black bear just rubbing on the tree, leaving the scent behind.
So is this at night?
Yes, that's a low light time. It'll be black and white when it's low light, and when it's good light, it'll be in color. Look at those claws on this guy. Yes, what was? Yes, yes. I haven't smelled it, but I find a tree with several, usually it's the hair. And in fact, when we were doing, I stopped my story, when we were doing that, when I was hiking with that group, it was wintertime. We went down to the creek, and then we came back up to the creek because one of our hiking members had a hurt foot. So we came up, a couple of us were hiking a little bit faster, so we came up to the top of the hill and we waited for everybody else to come up. Well, I was standing there talking to one of the guys in my hiking group, and I was standing by the bear rub tree and didn't know it. And as he was talking to me, he looked at the tree and he says, "There's hair on that tree." And I went, "What?" And I looked, and it was full of fur, just full of fur. And I said, "I'm putting a camera on that this summer." And so you find a bear rub tree, no limbs, at least about 5 or 6 feet high. There won't be any limbs on it. Sometimes there'll be limbs on one side, but at least one side of it's going to be clear of limbs. Usually sap, really sappy. Claw marks and bite marks, and then of course fur is the telling on it. That's how I found the tree. And ever since this one fell down, I've been looking for new trees, and I'm finding them all over the place, but just not in an area where I can see, and I want to be able to see around me. I did find 2 the other day that I can see. So hopefully we will have more wonderful bear rub tree stories. Now watch him walk. See how he throws his legs out? He's doing what is called a cowboy walk. That's done during mating season. They'll walk kind of bow-legged, and they'll put their feet down and grind their feet into the dirt. That's another form of scent marking. There's scent on their feet. Yeah. I remember the first time I posted a cowboy walk from behind, and a lot of people were saying, "Does he have hip problems?" I said, no, his hips are okay.
That's his swagger.
Yeah, it's his swagger. Yeah. Watch right here. Not only, do you see him urinating? Not only do they rub and bite and slobber, they'll urinate.
I'm pushing it all at once.
The girls don't do that, just the boys. And then every year when I do this, when I start posting the bear rub events, somebody always says, "Please put that to music." Right. I love it. They're always so wonderful. You notice how he bit the tree, scent glands in his mouth, and so saliva is part of the scent marking that goes on. And then mamas teach the babies. In the video prior to this, mama was rubbing the tree, but I caught, what I wanted to share with you was the cubs.
They're both boys.
Just do. That's
Were
funny.
both male bears, the little cubs were males.
I don't know if they were males or not. Yeah, they could have been. It's funny, sometimes when the little ones are doing it, they don't have their balance quite right, and they'll fall down when they're rubbing the tree. It's pretty funny.
So have you found your replacement bear rub tree yet?
I have located two, and I actually found them in this area, which I was so frustrated. I had been looking and looking and looking. And every place I find one, I think, okay, I can't come here. There's Devil's Club all around. You know, in July, it's very dangerous near the creeks. You probably know that. You can't see the bears, and they can't hear you or see you, and then you don't want a surprise. And so I want to be where I can see. And so one Sunday, I think it was Sunday before last, I'd spent hours out, probably 2 hours out looking for trees. And I thought, you know, I'm going to go back. I can't find one in a safe place. So I'm going to go back to my old location and start at the creek and see if I can find some game trails. So I did that. I started at the creek. I actually started at the log, which you'll see in a minute, and looked around to see if I could find game trails. And I found two game trails, one that ran real close to the creek, and then one that ran halfway between my old trail and the creek. And within minutes, I had identified a bear rub tree. And so I put a camera on that one. It's only been on it for a week. Didn't get anything the first week, and I don't expect to get anything for a little while. And then I was walking back up to the trail where my old bear rub tree was. And lo and behold, I had been walking by a bear rub tree probably for years and not even knowing it was a bear rub tree because I wasn't looking for one. And so on my original trail with the old bear rub tree, I have found another rub tree. It's not as active a site because I think I would have noticed it, but it certainly had fur on it. So I've got two cameras on that right now. Another thing that I enjoy, in addition to the bear rub tree, is watching the youngsters. This is the log that I've mentioned. The windstorm has placed another log right in front here. Another tree fell down right here. The fishing hole that I like with the bears is right here. So I don't know what it's going to do to my fishing this summer. We'll see. But I love to watch the youngsters. Here's 3 brown bear cubs. They didn't all make it. I think 2 made it. This one is at what I call the pump house. And this is back at the log. Can you hear them calling for their mama? Yeah, mama got a little too far away.
Almost sound like mom.
And see the cub up on the shore at the log? Mama's fishing. It's not constantly recording, it's motion activated. Yeah, right. It'll. If I have it in an area where there's lots of foliage, yeah, I get a lot of false. You know, it depends on how active it is. This site was so active 2 years ago that I would only go once a week. I didn't feel like it was safe to go too often. I would either fill up the SD card or the batteries would go dead in a week. Yeah. But most of the time they last a lot longer than that. This is the bear rub tree. You recognize it? Yes, it's rainy. Now he's going to try to nurse. Yeah, mine's not going to have much to do with that. No, let's see. No. Let's go get some fish. Mama bear had just run off another bear right prior to this moment. It was really interesting to watch as she was running off the other bear. The baby stayed right there, practically underneath her the whole time. Here are some little eaglets. They were born they were born in the summer of 2020 or spring of 2020, and they're acting like siblings. Can you hear them? Just fussing at each other. And now we're going to fight a little bit. I'm surprised one of those didn't get pushed out of the nest. And here's another adult and an eaglet, and just learning how to fish and really wants mama or daddy to feed it. So annoying. Constant. Over and over and over again. They'll do that forever. And then, of course, everybody loves the moose with the calf. Yeah. Mom will take her calves in the creek often to try to get the bears off their scent. It doesn't always work too well, but sweet babies. And then this one I like, it's a nighttime photo. Watch at the end when mama goes across the creek, she'll go across here and watch the calf is over here. And it's hungry. So hungry. Oh my goodness. Yes, mama. I kind of feel sorry for mama there. The bears know the camera, or the animals know the cameras are there. Sometimes I think it's my scent on the camera, especially if I've been bleeding. My skin is old, and sometimes I'll pull grass and I'll get blood on me and touch the camera. One time, I remember I pulled some grass and it had a grass cut, and I just let the blood just drip off my hand. And then I wiped it off before I put it in my gloves because it was summer and I didn't want the bears coming after me. The next time I checked that camera, a black bear came and licked my blood right in front of the camera. So sometimes it's my scent. I think sometimes they see a light or sometimes they hear a noise from it. I try to keep those, I try to buy the ones that have the no glow lights and stuff so they can't see it, but I still think they do. And I think sometimes they can hear it just by the way they act. So here's a bull moose walking around. This is a bear rub tree right here. He knows that camera's there. He smells something, sees something, sniffing it. Huh?
Coming back.
And I have to remember to look at my cameras closely because I might need to clean the lens. I do have slobber on them sometimes. Brown bears.
Got a hole.
I'm not through. I'll check it one more time. Sometimes I won't get an image, but did you see the kind of like the steam coming off? I know an animal's in the area because you can see the steam and you can hear them. This is the inside of the mouth of a black bear.
That one survived?
Yeah. I have actually not had a camera destroyed by a bear. One bitten, and there's a tooth hole in it, and I've had them turn completely around and facing the opposite direction on the tree when I get to check them. But my friend who introduced me to cameras, he's had them ripped off trees. My camera caught a bear that ripped his camera off a tree. And this is a little Martin, gonna check out my camera. They're very curious about the cameras. The whiskers. All kinds of animals, birds and wolverines and nearly everything. Foxes and coyotes will come up and sniff it. I just gave you a little sample of them. Another thing that I like to watch is the fishing in the creek. And you can see this eagle is carrying a fish. Here's a bear trying to get a fish. Oops, missed. Gonna come back and get it. Where is it? There it is. Got it. Yay. The eagles love to fish. Are you recognizing the locations, the log again? So the eagles will fish and they'll eat some of it, and the bears, sometimes you'll have a bear come in and run the eagle off, and the bear will eat the eagle's fish. And so lots of fishing goes on. Then the next thing that I enjoy watching is just the wolves, the coyotes, foxes, and the lynx that come on the cameras. And I'm still in the same area. I haven't moved cameras anywhere. They're same area. Beautiful gray wolf pack in the area. I think they mostly stay on Jay Bear, but they come across. I'm real close to Jay Bear. Remember the north gas line? When I showed you the north gas line, just to the east of the north gas line is the Jay Bear fence line. And this is a bear rub tree with wolves walking by it. See, bear rub tree? This was last September.
Pay any attention to it though.
No, they didn't even stop and smell it. Yeah. Here's another shot, same area, bear rub tree, same wolf pack.
Your tree got knocked down.
I have found two other trees near there that I've put it on. It's a wonderful spot. It's all messed up. I'm really sad. Really sad. I'm just hoping that the new ones I found in that area will be as good as this one. And the coyote. He knows the camera is there.
Oh.
Isn't he beautiful? Yeah. Fox.
All different times of the day too.
Yeah. This happens to be on a carcass. Jay Bear has illegal moose hunting, and sometimes the hunters will shoot the moose on the wrong side, what we call the wrong side of bulldog. They're not supposed to shoot the moose on the east side of the bulldog trail, but they do. And sometimes they will cross the fence and die in the Muldoon swamp. And I love it when that happens because I can put a camera on it. Not that I love the moose dine, but this is a cross fox. I just included this one because I thought the fox was pretty. It's a form of a red fox, but it's known as a cross fox. He's got beautiful eyes too. Then this is my bunny cam, the one that has the hole in it. Links, and for some reason he just stops right in front of my bunny cam. I don't know why, but I'm happy that he did that. And then moves on. Oh, yes, yes. The bunny cam was another accidental, most of my stuff is accidental discoveries. I was walking the mushing trails that are in the area and had to go to the bathroom one day. So I go off the trail to go to the bathroom, and as I'm squatting in the woods, I notice snowshoe hair pellets everywhere. I went, oh, I'm not the only one using this as a bathroom. And I thought, I wonder if this would be a good place for a camera, and I've had one there 8 years. And I get all kinds of stuff there. Now we're going to look at weasels, porcupines, and snowshoe hares. This is a marten at the bunny cam. That particular camera doesn't even have sound. It was so cheap. This one does. This is not the bunny cam. I love watching the martens. They're cool. And then ermine. Bunny cam. Again. Digging in the snow. Oh, and the wolverines, I just love the wolverines. They're like children. Watch this wolverine. He comes in flipping. Just keep watching him though. He's playing with the twigs in the snow. Now he's gonna use his nose as a little shovel, sniff under the snow a little bit, and then start flipping again. It's hilarious. And then you know, you've watched dogs take the snow bath. Well, wolverines do that too. Just taking a snow bath. Look at those feet. They're huge. Yeah, he's cleaning himself. This is a porcupine near the pump house. You'll see him come up around over here. You see his little head? Peekaboo. Yes. Yeah. It's real amazing. But if the wind is blowing, it'll give me false triggers. And I can sit there for hours with nothing. The water doesn't trigger it, yeah. No, it's as I understand it, that water temperature is going to be about the same the whole time, but when the grasses move back and forth, the temperature changes, and that's when it activates the camera. It thinks there's motion because of a temperature change. And then here's the porcupine at night. Same location. Getting a midnight snack or a 3 a.m. snack. Oh, here's my snowshoe hare in the winter at the bunny cam. Yeah. What is he thinking? Oh, he's gonna stretch. Now watch this dude. This is in the daytime. You're down. Now watch him though. And then I don't know if there's catnip for rabbits, but take a look. Keep looking. You got the zoomies really bad. Okay, now I'm going to animal interactions. I have always been told and always read that black and brown bears don't get along. Well, watch this. They're playing, a black and a brown bear, at the bear rub tree. At the bear rub tree. See, it's right there. They were having a blast, playing together. And of course, I have several videos of it. This is just the one I picked to show. Oh, here's our sex.
Gotta have some romantic music going.
I should have put this one to music. Yeah, a little bit. There we go. Nice and gentle. That's it. No. Moose and a bear. I've had this happen twice with two different bull moose and two different bears at this log. Ooh. Oh, and the ravens and the eagles. Those ravens pester the eagles. They pull their tail feathers. It's just awful. You can see this one about to get the tail feather. I'll show you the video. Stinker. Hey, come back again. Up, 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 up. Okay.
Persistent.
Oh. And comes back. Yeah, I will tell you that I've sometimes come upon a moose kill where there are just black feathers everywhere. I think pull too many tail feathers. Now this one, I had my camera set to run, take a video for 30 seconds, but it took it for over a minute. And this raven pestered the heck out of this fox and kept coming back for over a minute. And just annoying. And the fox will put up with it for a little bit. And then there we go. Well, I decided to put some of that to music. Not real music. And put it in slow motion. I had seen ravens without any tail feathers, and I always wondered why they didn't have tail feathers. Now I know. Okay, red fox fight. You'll see the eyes. Do you see the eyes in the background? See them? Yeah. He's coming. He's coming. Look out. Yeah. It's hard to hear, but there's teeth clattering. And sound coming out. Yeah. It wasn't so quiet. This particular camera, it was a Moultrie, does not have a good microphone on it. And I told you about the brown bear and the black bear interaction, and how I always thought they're not supposed to play well together, and they do. I was always told wolverines are lone creatures, not according to my game cameras. If you'll look here, when they move around a bit, you'll see that there are 4 wolverines at this one carcass. See? 3 in the front here, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 in the back. And I filmed as many as 5 together. Then here's wolverines playing together. The solitary animals playing together. And hopefully these are mates. I call this the Wolverine kiss. Probably just getting food off his face. The Wolverine and the Coyote. Look in the back here. Do you hear something? What is that I hear? Hello. And there's a coat. You'll want to look in the back here, back in the trees. The wolverine's going to climb a tree, and then you'll see, hopefully you'll see a fox coming back in the background. Yeah, see him coming? Yeah. This one happens very fast. The fox is getting a mouse, so as soon as I click it, it's going to happen. Do you see it? No. Yum, 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 yum.
Snack.
Nice little snack. This is the event that made me famous in the media. This was at the pump house, and it's remember the wolves we saw walking through the woods? They were on their way to this location. I don't know if they knew that's where they were going, but they were on the trail that took them here. And there they encountered a mama moose and a yearling. I have 2 cameras there. The yearling did not make it. And they had her completely eaten within an hour. 4 hours, excuse me, 4 hours. Had it all on, had it all on video. What?
Okay, your cameras, you said only run for 30 seconds, so.
30 seconds, and then I have it set for a delay for 5 seconds, and they do 30 seconds again.
Okay.
So for 4 hours, it did that while they ate it. Okay, that was it for the game camera footage. Any questions about that? Can you believe that it's so close to a neighborhood? I mean, I just maybe walk 4 miles to see all my cameras. And that includes walking from my front door to the trail, which is 3/4 of a mile. And then I start on the trails. And
Wow.
Walks there. You see wolverine, have you seen these animals like not on your trail cam?
yes, yes. I've seen wolverines, I've seen martens, I've seen wolves. I was actually buddies with the gray wolf that was killed on the Muldoon Curve several years ago. We had many interactions, pleasant ones. Yeah, she was real friendly. She was a lone wolf. I think she was part of the pack that they culled on Jay Bear. They had to kill a pack on Jay Bear. I don't know if you remember. That was threatening. They were threatening people, hikers, and dogs, and so they killed most of the pack. She wasn't killed, and she was collared, and she became very friendly. And perhaps too friendly. As she got older, she kept going into neighborhoods, I think, and that's how she got killed crossing Muldoon. Probably the most encounters I have are, of course, with moose, and then the second most in the summer are bears. I have lots of bear encounters, which I don't care to have, but I do, because I go where the bears are fishing. That's where my cameras are. Okay, so tips for buying cameras. My first tip is you need to decide what you want to do with the camera. Decide your purpose. Do you want it just to use in your backyard? Do you want to see what's getting in a garden or what's passing through? Or do you want it for home security, or do you want it for, like what I do, wildlife viewing on public lands? So decide, what you want to do. Then become familiar with all the various camera features. And I included here, I don't want to keep going in and out of this presentation.
Okay.
So there was an article, I just Googled it, a guide to trail camera features. There are lots of different articles. This was a nice one. So you want to know, you want to think about what are the different features that you'd want in a camera. for whatever your purpose is. Do you want it to, make sure it doesn't do a flash, or do you care if it does a flash? If you want nighttime color, you're gonna have a nighttime flash. But if you don't care about nighttime color, then, and you don't want to disturb the animals or disturb them as little as possible, then you probably want a no glow. And so there are lots of different features the cameras have, and just become familiar with those. Do a little research, and at a minimum, I would look at, when people buy cameras on Amazon, they will typically post a real photo or video that they've gotten from the camera that they bought. And then you can see if it's the quality that you want. And there are all kinds of articles online. Just search, what are the best cameras? In fact, the one I have here, the Gardy Pro, I found it by doing a search on the internet, what are the best cameras? And this came up as one of the best. And I was afraid of it because it was too cheap. I think it was like $50. And I thought, I don't want a $50 camera. But I decided to go ahead and buy it. And it's become one of my favorite. I now have 3 Gardy Pros. I would spend $150 or less on a camera, and I would pick a color, depending on what your purpose is, pick a color that blends well with the trees in your area. If you don't want people to see it, you need to get it close to the color of the trees. And sometimes that won't even help. I had a camera chopped down that was really a real close color to a tree recently. But you see they come in all different colors. Then tips for setting up the game cameras. You need to determine what you're, what are you going to try to capture? This is my bunny cam. And so I want to capture the bunnies, the snowshoe hares. So I'm keeping it low to the ground because that's what I want to catch. So it's not good for moose. I just get their legs. But for my purpose for that camera, I want it to get the bunnies and what preys on them, the bunnies. My bear cameras, I set 4 to 5 feet high. Unfortunately, because of the homeless situation in this particular area that's just started up, I have a tree ladder now, and I'm putting them 8 to 9 feet high this year. I thought that would work great. My camera got chopped down, I think, with a machete. They couldn't reach it to steal it or to take it down, so they just chopped it down. That happened about 3 weeks ago, one camera. So I don't know if I want to get it higher in the tree, out of the reach of a machete, or just find a different location, which is what I'm trying to do. Huh?
I think you got to pack in a ladder.
Yeah, yeah. It's a small ladder, and I just hook it to a backpack, and I have a harness and strap myself to the tree because I want to be held up while I'm putting the camera up, which makes it not efficient in the summer when I want to get in and out fast. So I'm a little worried about that. Set the camera up on travel corridors, such as creeks or game trails. This is just along a creek, a nice curve in the creek. Yeah, that's Frost. It was October of this last year. He came up, checked my camera. Set the camera at about a 45-degree angle to the trail or to the creek area. You can point it directly at something. I will point it directly at like the bear rub tree, but I don't always detect the animal soon enough. So if you turn it at an angle, you can detect the animal and you'll still get it. A lot of times it detects it after it's gone, if you've pointed it directly at it. So this one is not pointed good. It's pointed at a bit of an angle, but I don't get enough. If I placed it a bit differently, I would have gotten more time with those 2 bears. You see how quickly I lost them off camera? Avoid sun glare. You see what happens there. And then place the camera on a sturdy tree that doesn't sway a whole lot when the wind blows, and be aware of the vegetation around it, because anytime you've got movement around it, it's going to set it off. I like this camera here Because see, it's got the sensors that point out. Can you see the sensors here? They point out. But if I have any vegetation over here, anything that moves over here, it's going to activate the camera. Anything that moves over here is going to activate the camera. So, and this one doesn't have that, so it's got to be right in front of it. And I think that's about it. Yeah. No, you do not have to have a permit to put them on public land, but you can't bait them on public land. Yeah. Yeah.
Accidents. Accidents.
Have you tried the, ones you can download?
I have not, and the reason I haven't is because my enjoyment is going to the cameras. That's why I do it. I could go the Wi-Fi route, and just sit at home and look at what's happening out there. It'd be much safer. And maybe as I get older, maybe that's what I'll do. Yeah. That's another thing. I could actually film them chopping my camera down, couldn't I? Yeah. It won't stop them from chopping them down, but it would actually, I'd have it on record who did it. Not that I would get anywhere with that. Yeah.
You like hadn't seen any people doing any like really inappropriate things with your cameras. Yeah. You're getting people too, I bet.
I don't get a lot of people where I put my cameras, but I occasionally get people. And unfortunately, this last fall, I got a lot of homeless people. And one guy pooped right in front of my camera. He may have known, but I don't know. And then there was a guy that peed in the creek once, right in front of my camera. I just shut it off, you know. Yeah. Yes.
So, I guess it's Bella's camera.
Yes.
I'm frustrated because I don't know what it's looking at. Is there some way that I can monitor it? Or do I set it up, turn it on, then turn it off, open it and see what it's looking at?
You can do that. Yeah. Your camera might be like this one in that when I open it up, see the lens is right here. And so, by the way, the lens is probably the most important thing on the camera. You want to make sure you have a good lens on your camera. You can have good other things, but if you don't have a good lens, it's not going to work well. So on this one, when I open it up, see that's the lens. Look what I do when I can see where it's pointing.
Where it was,
No, where it's pointing now, which is back over there, which is not useful to me at all, is it? Because I can't tell what it's pointing at when I close it. Okay, but this one, this Browning, there's the lens right there. When I open it up, I can see right where it's pointing.
It's got the front.
Okay.
Front.
Yeah.
See.
This one costs more and will only do videos or photos. This one costs a lot less, does both video and photos same time. You know, you take a photo, then do a video. This one, you have to either you have to choose what you want to see, all photos or all videos. This one, I can choose all photos, all videos, or both. And it doesn't bother me at all that I can't see it, because what I'll do is I'll set it up, stand there, go out, think I've got it set right, then go home. The next week I'll check, see if I like where it was set, and then if I don't, I change it. But that, you know, that takes a long time to do that. That takes several weeks to get it set just the way you want it. But that doesn't bother me because I start setting up my cameras now. I only have 2 cameras here tonight because most of mine are out in the woods now. And I'm doing the process now of going out and say, are they set the way I want them? Are they pointing at what I want them to point at? Is there too much vegetation? Whatever.
and the video is good enough quality where you get a screen grab.
I have done
Yes.
screen grabs off these. Yeah. Yeah. They're not the greatest, but I can do that. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed on the video, the first video I showed you of the wolves going after the moose. It was a little foggy looking. That's because there was fog on the camera because it was damp. Yeah, so a lot of times my early morning pictures aren't very good because the camera's wet. The cameras themselves are waterproof, except the one where the bear bit it, but they're waterproof. I did have a problem with one camera that was waterproof when we had a really rainy summer. Y'all probably remember that one. It was fairly recent. Was that 3 years ago or something, where it just rained and rained and rained? And it just dripped straight down on top of my camera constantly. And it got wet inside my camera. Yeah, even though it's waterproof. Yes, I always carry a little lens cleaner with me, and I clean them off. That cleans off the slobber and the wet. Yeah. So,
Do you have like, so you have so many of these, do you have a little spreadsheet so you know when you last recharged it, or?
no, I don't keep a spreadsheet on it. But what I do is those, all of them have 2 SD cards. Okay. And when I have several cameras in an area, I will color code the SD card containers come in different colors. And so all my red will be at the bear rub tree. All my blue will be at this place. All my white will be elsewhere. And that way it's easy for me to get them out of my pocket. Yeah. I know which ones go where. Yeah.
You have to lock your cameras to the tree?
It doesn't, actually in my area, it doesn't do any good to lock them. We had a camera that was locked to a tree, and the homeless guy just came back with clippers. And actually, I lied. He didn't come with the clippers. He took the inside of the camera out. He didn't have the clippers to take it off the tree. And so a lady had lost her dog, and she put a camera on a trail, and it was near a homeless camp. And she knew that it was on an active trail, people trail, so she put a cable on it. I also have a cable. I don't use it though, especially after I saw what he did to the camera. And I went back and I looked at that camera one day and noticed that there were only wires hanging out. So somehow he had taken this part of the camera out. I guess maybe with his machete, chopped it out. I don't know. But they also will come with cable cutters as well. But in my area, they just use a machete.
Choice.
The machete
No,
or what?
Where do they use these cameras?
They don't use them. They tear them up. Yeah. Well, the fellow that I think is doing it posted on YouTube that the cameras out there were tracking his movements. So I think he's, yeah, a little paranoid.
We care what he says.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're not being tracked, go somewhere else.
Yeah. That's what I say. Go somewhere else.
Is there any more questions? This is so great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're all gonna get on your Facebook post and we're gonna be like, okay, now you need to come and do a workshop with all of us that have trail cams and help us set them up.
Yeah.
More questions.
One more question.
Yes.
That's really cool, or did you have a bunch of, I'm just curious.
It was a mix. It was a mix. A lot of people thought, what a wonderful thing to capture on the camera. And others were talking about how to kill the wolves. They want somebody out there to kill the wolves immediately, that the wolves are evil. And there was a lot of that going on. That didn't affect me at all. No, didn't affect me at all. Yeah. I knew they weren't outdoors people if they were wanting to kill them.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you do stuff to protect yourself while you're going out?
Yes, there are various things that I do based on experience. I sing when I go in the woods now. When I was younger, I didn't do that. And sort of enjoyed the encounters. Now that I'm older, I don't enjoy the encounters so much. Maybe it's because I got charged by a brown bear and had to use bear spray. And that was very frightening. I carry 2 cans of bear spray with me. They are always on my hip where I can shoot them from the hip without having to remove them from my pack. I carry a 44 in the summer. And in the month of July, I do not go to my cameras alone. The cameras on the creek. I will not go alone because of the bears. Yeah. And the bears are pretty much leave me alone, but not always. And they get a little curious, and then I never know if they're cubs. So I've had enough encounters where I've had a mama bear last year before last, came out of the creek, because I carry an air horn as well. So when I go to my bear rub tree, I blow the air horn when I'm up on the hill where I can see. I blow the air horn several times, and then I just stand there and wait and look and listen. And I did that one year in the pouring rain, and a brown bear, I thought it was the biggest bear I'd ever seen. I swore it's the biggest bear I'd ever seen. Came out of the creek, and it started toward me. And then it kept looking this direction. It's here, I'm here, and it would look over there. And so I was backing up, thinking, she's not stopping, she's coming. This is not good, she can get to me very fast. So I pulled out my gun and just held it by my side and backed out, tripping, of course, all along the way because I'm going backwards. And then when I got out of sight of her, I blew my air horn again, like 3 times. And then I saw a flash of brown coming. It was her cub. Yeah. So I almost got between mama and cub. Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, that was very scary. Yeah.
So with your experiences,
Mhm.
The air horn does seem to have a purpose out there
It,
to scare them away.
it does not scare them away necessarily. It lets them know I'm there, which is very important because I don't want to surprise. You get killed if you surprise them. I have had a bear in that same area. I was checking a camera. I'd probably blown my air horn or made some noise or something, and I was checking a camera, and I noticed some blonde fur over this way. And I thought, well, that's a dog. So I called for the dog. Well, it didn't come. So I left my camera and I went and looked, and there was a brown bear looking back at me. And I blew the air horn, and it did run. The next time a similar thing happened, I didn't see the fur, but I was at my bear rub tree about to change the camera, and I had blown the horn, and a bear came up out of the creek. And I thought, well, I had a friend with me, so I was a little bit more brave. And so I walked toward that bear, and I just blew that air horn at that bear. I was going to scare that bear away, and it kept coming. And then I got behind my friend that came. And that's on camera, by the way. Me getting behind my friend is on camera. As soon as the bear saw him, that's too many people, I think, and he took off.
You, when you go out to check on your cameras,
Mhm.
you actually swap cameras out, you swap?
SD
cards?
SD cards are swapped out typically, and batteries are changed. I don't typically switch cameras unless one stops working, and that happens. Yeah.
So it's SD cards.
Well, depending on the camera you buy, they've got the mini cards or just the regular size ones. Oh, the storage on it. Some of your cameras can only handle 32. That's one of the features you need to look at. So this, some of them will handle more than 32, but some of them that's the max. Yeah. So like I said, each camera has 2 cards. And so I switch them out. I go out and get one, put one in, then go home and look at it. Then the next, save what I want. And then the next week I do it all again.
Is it doing redundantly recording, or is it one's doing pictures, one's doing video, or is it when one fills, the other one starts? I imagine there's something.
On what?
On your card, since there's 2 cards, is it dual recording at the same time?
There's only one card in the camera at a time.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And I have, I put a card in and leave it. And then the next week I bring a card that has nothing on it take this one out, stick that one in, and then I go home and I look at the footage that's on the one that I just took out, delete everything, and next week I go and change.
So it just goes.
Gotcha, I thought.
One card.
I thought you
Yeah.
had 2 cards.
No,
Yeah.
no, not 2 cards in the camera.
Okay,
And I've got it set where when it fills up the card, it stops. It doesn't, so you can do a setting where it'll record over, but I don't do that.
Any other questions? Thank you so much for coming out.
Right. So, just so you know, I know what I do is dangerous and I want you to be careful if you do it. I learn a new hymn every year to sing to the bears. And my nephew-in-law gave me a poster, a little sign. It's a metal sign that I have in the entryway to my house. So when I gear up, when I strap on my bear spray and I strap on my gun, I'll always look at this sign, and it says, what doesn't, what's that? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, except bears. Bears will kill you. So every time I go out, I remind myself that I could die today. And I've told my brothers that, you know, if I die, they think I'm going to die by bear. And they might be right. And I told them, well, just know that until I knew the bear was going to kill me, I was having fun. Yeah. Yeah.
thank you so much.
Member slides?
Yeah, we do have member slides.
We have quite a few member slides.
So I don't know how to eject my thing here. I don't see it on their desktop. Tech guy? Tech guy?
Does anybody need a ticket?
Tickets, please.
Anybody else need a
There we go.
ticket?
I've already done all of that, yeah. I did, Channel 2 interviewed me twice. Fox News interviewed me, Associated Press did a story on me, did a nice video. And then I was contacted by a French journalist who was supposed to come up in February, and
So what
she
is the,
contacted me several times and never came.
things that
Nat
you have
Geograph
to give-
contacted me. They didn't follow through.
But
Oh.
he just published this book that just came out. And I spent the last week with him in San Diego, and he lives in Ramona and had.
And then-
Professor,
Yes, I recognize it. And Christianity Today has contacted me because I mentioned that I've seen him.
All over the world, about his project with these pictures. A lot of these animals he's never seen in the wild. He's only seen them on his camera traps. He's a very good friend, a very good friend. And so I told him that Beth was coming tonight, so I needed one of his books to as a giveaway, since it was all on camera traps. And I've read it from cover to cover. I don't know if you have saw it. There's a lot of really good information here about setting up. His cameras are just a little bit different though. He's got his $5,000 mirrorless cameras set up with 3 or 4 different strobes, and he's
Oh,
built
wow.
waterfalls on his property. But he has never seen one of these cats in the wild. He's only seen them on his camera. So anyway, I wanted to let you guys know. And then the other book that we have, Ann Schnorr, gave to us to give away, which is one of Ansel Adams' classic images. So, who wants to pick? Looks like it was meant to be.
Lord,
543-646.
hey, that's me.
Okay.
I never win. I think I'll take Roy's. Although I do love Anne Slane.
Are we playing
It's a nice.
white elephant rules the next birthday?
Yeah.
Ansel Adams book.
543-656.
Actually, you know who deserves this, what?
656, 543, 656, that's me.
There you
Five oh three, 634.
I never win anything. All right, never winner is. You want to stay for this life? Yeah. Welcome to stay for this life and I'd like to know, well, you guys ready to start? No.
Yeah.
Hit the light.
Go for it. Okay. Carl's up.
Great things about, photography is, I always remember every shot, so I look at that, I'm like, yeah, that's mine, it's my turn to get up here. So these are all from our March trip up to the Berks Range. Did things a little bit differently this year. Usually we just leave from Fairbanks and just go all the way to Wiseman. At this time, we built in overnights at Yukon River Camp on the way up and on the way back. That's the way to do it. That really is. It's so nice to break up that drive. Although, I was trying to think of saying, it's totally worthwhile doing in the wintertime because you're only 10 miles away from these at mile 47 on the Dalton. But I was thinking okay, then what would be the benefit of staying at the Yukon River Camp other than breaking up the drive in August or September? So if anybody knows anybody with a boat they're willing to charter to take people up down the Yukon River, like from Rampart or something, I think that'd be awesome. Do some boat trips with a local. It'd be so cool. Anyway, so this is the frosted trees. They're at mile 47 on the Dalton. Banger Mountain was fantastic for the wind carving and the snow. It was just spectacular. And on our way up, we had, mostly clear skies and some great light and great low angle light to play around with, some fun abstracts with the snow. And that's also a great time to see the ptarmigan. Had some good luck the last couple of winters seeing them up there, hanging out up in trees, big flocks. Saw one flash of a small group of snow bunting, which was kind of surprising given that it was early March. But by the time we got to Wiseman, the weather up in Wiseman was more like April weather. It was very warm up there. This is a great multi-layered hills burning area at about mile 145. And it's a fantastic place to stop and get some shots. Particularly, you normally don't like to do landscape photography on flat overcast days, but with these burnt, basically black contrasty elements with the white and then the layers of hills in the background, it's really a super cool spot. And speaking of abstracts, I had my 180 to 600. So that was on one body for wildlife, but I pulled out occasionally, do some abstracts with some of the mountainsides, some cool light and shadow play. Up north of Galbraith Lake, the light up there was super neat. And like most of areas, the Berks Range is some really cool wind-blown elements that were great to photograph. Some folks with the group getting out there, just checking out that amazing light. That way it's just kind of shimmering off with the snow. And it was windy. And so I really wanted to get the snow blowing across the tundra. So I'm lying on my belly like this, just taking picture after picture after picture after picture, trying to get just that right visibility of that snow blowing through. And I always like to challenge myself when I'm going to a place over and over again, try some new compositions. So for this, I hiked up the Adigan River a little bit away from the highway to get right under the pipeline, and then to use the pipeline in its shadow, because the moon is pretty bright, to frame the aurora and this unnamed mountain in the background. And we just had just a spectacular night. And this is only a KP3 Aurora up there, but when anything up there is always pretty fantastic. I've got this one really kind of weird corona shape that was really challenging because there were trucks coming up, because this is on the climb up into Atican Pass. So there were trucks passing it both ways and like getting the timing just right to where there weren't any headlights lighting up these mountains. And to get the corona in there was a little challenging. And then enjoyed, again, several different areas, just playing around, doing some different things with what was going on with the light and shadow. Trying new angles on the pipeline that I haven't found before. Discovered this shot with Mount Dillon in the background that I was really happy with.
Super cool.
And then kind of a late afternoon, around sunset time, playing with some ice formations and this big, huge 4-inch deep crack in the ice on this is the Dietrich River. That I was really happy with. That's it for mine. This was back in Fairbanks. It was a little warmer there.
No, I was gonna say, you play better with angles than I do. I just gave y'all one tip on angles, 45 degrees to the ground. Wow.
So I just got back from India and, had a spectacular trip, and this is some of everything love people. And it's this lake, we had so many peacocks and all the males were trying to attract the females, and I just thought it was really cool watching them. And these are baby langurs. This is a mongoose. First time I'd ever seen a wild mongoose. It's some kind of bird, I'm not sure which actually. These are the first tigers that we saw. These are in Bandavgar National Park. And it was like being in Denali a little bit. Although Donna and I got extremely lucky that a lot of the wildlife, the tigers that we saw, that we were the only people there on them. There was just a couple of Jeeps when we got there, and by the time we left, there was about 20 of them out there. But it was just kind of fun. This guy was walking down the street. We didn't see any other tigers except for this, any other Jeeps except this guy. And he just kind of hung out with us. This is a female, these were the only cubs that we saw when we were there. Okay. Peacocks are the national bird of the year. So we got tired of fighting all the other Jeeps and stuff, and so Donna and I decided that we were gonna go photograph these beautiful spotted deer. And this is a little baby spotted deer that's only a couple days old. And as we were photographing them, all of a sudden the driver goes, tiger, tiger, tiger. And the deer were over here, and she came up just over the top of his leg. Holy crap, like tigers too. And we got pretty excited about it. And so this all happened in a matter of just a few seconds. And so these to my mother, now she doesn't want to ever see it. And by the time we got to this point, I have a lot of other pictures, but I looked at all of my pictures from the time that it left till the time that it was dead, and I don't have any where that was from. I don't know if it died, but it, I thought that I would have at least one, and you know, it happened with the second group. Donna and I were the only. By the time this happened, all of a sudden Jeeps just came out of the sky. think it's time to go. You can see some more. And this is what it normally looks like when you're walking around, or when you're driving around. Like, these are the open. This is still in, well, we are now in Kana, I'm sorry, the kill was taken in Kana National Park. So you can see the P marks on the tree, so she's sniffing the tree. And then this is a baby langer that we were photographing just as we were leaving the park. It's one of my favorites. And this was in our last park. We didn't see any tigers here, but we were so happy. We had 14 tiger sightings in the 10 days that we were there, so we were pretty happy with that. And these are, I don't know what kind, but these are hornbills.
Oh, those bats.
What was the third part?
Oh, I'm sorry, the third park that we were at was in Pench.
Pench, okay.
And they did have, some of the other people in our group saw, bears and leopards
Sloth
there.
bear, okay.
Sloth bears. The leopards were like very, but Happy Noni does have a shot of a sloth bear there. So, but I was happy because I got to see my second. What a wonderful experience.
Monogar. That's where we have our best success too, Monogar and Kana.
Oh, I love Kana and Bonnegar.
Monogar was the best.
Yeah.
And it was crowded at times. In fact, there was a tigress lying down, cool composition, so many Jeeps I couldn't get a shot. I literally jumped onto the next Jeep, took a shot, then got yelled at, of course.
Oh, you did? Because there was a,
No, I'm jumping over there.
there was a tiger that was drinking. I don't have a picture of it in the slideshow, but that was drinking, and we were trying, and we were behind a Jeep, and the guy's like, come on over. So Donna and I are hanging off of their Jeep shooting,
really?
so they would, and then I still couldn't get close enough, so the guy that was in the front of the Jeep goes, just hand me your camera.
There's not any Zoomers, actually.
Oh, okay, all right.
The Zoom people are gone.
So, yeah, this is Havana. I
Oh,
was
wow.
there, latter part of February, early March. It's my 6th visit since 2018. And, I watched the economic situation get worse and worse every year. Now, they're in a position right now where they're saying it's worse than the special period in the 90s that they call it, when the Soviet Union collapsed, and now it's, really tough times for them. They're saying this is far worse than it's going on, and bracing for even worse and worse to come with our election, I'll just leave it at that. So I don't know if we'll be able to continue going back with new proposed travel bans and things could shut down all the way. It remains to be seen. I have reasons for going back, because there's definitely a story there. And yeah, the other reason is the money. Yeah, that's another story. But I would love to get back there and just focus on, without clients, without a group, and just focus on the current situation and what's next for people. So when we were in Havana, I really focused on the economic realities of the situation. So I've got a million photos of classic cars from over the years. That's easy. I want to focus on the humanitarian side of things. So this was in Havana, and mother and 2 kids. This is becoming quite common. all these old buildings and the humidity, they fall apart, they crumble. People have been killed from patios that fell on them. And there are houses that have collapsed. In fact, I mentioned this, in my presentation on Cuba, I think that was February, right? This is a boxing gym. It's run by former Cuban heavyweight champ, Rodami Castillo. And inside the gym, these families whose buildings, whose homes collapsed, were set up. You know, it's supposed to be very temporary in this boxing gym as a place to live. That was years ago. So they got their areas kind of cordoned off, sectioned off with whatever they can for some bit of privacy. This boy just got home from school. So we got sheets and tarps and whatever else to just have some semblance of privacy in this big open gym. Revolutionary. So away from Havana now, we're in Vinales, just famous for really cool limestone mountains that only occur in like 3 places in the world. I would say Vinales, Cuba, southern Thailand, Indonesia. A lot of caves, and this is La Cueva Santo Tomas, which is St. Thomas Cave. Caves, cave. And I made it back in time for some auroras. It's been grown a couple weeks ago. Wow, see the bird, rising phoenix. Yeah, the color's a little off compared to 5 monitors.
Okay.
Yeah. That was. And this is one I did last year. I'm doing my private game reserve. There's a hide that's dug into the ground, so you're eye level with the water. Animals. So it's a really cool perspective, really unique. Really unique, so that was
I
one
like
of my
it in
favorites.
black and white too.
I do a lot of black and white because there's, in a lot of places, it's kind of drab anyway,
Yeah.
but there's just a lot of good contrast. And this is near Etocha National Park, it borders Etocha. It's very hot, very dry, very close, so black and white as well. So speaking of that, we have a few spots open for this November, or October 19th to November 2nd this year. If anyone's interested, we'll give a very good discount to members. We have one woman who's traveling alone and willing to share a room. If that interests anyone, let me know, and we'll work out a deal with you.
Where are you going?
Namibia, Northern Botswana, and then we do a day trip to Victoria Falls. It's a 2-week trip. October 19th, November 2nd. That. I think that's fine. Yes.
Yes. Oh, I have your notes right up there, behind the computer. Oh, what number?
This is all either last fall or this,
Even with,
Yeah.
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 If you get close to the house.
Max or something. Enough room.
That was the north side? That's in the park, right? On the whole drive.
Yeah. All of these are from a trip I did in, last September to, Tanzania. Graphics, Colorado. This is the bee eater, bee in its mouth. My top thing I wanted to see was the wildebeest migration across the Mara River. And I saw it 6 times. Sometimes people sit there in their, safari trucks all day. Because you can see them way off in the distance and they're moving and, then one will come down to the river and you think, okay, it's gonna start. Now he turns around and goes back up. And the first time we saw them, we missed the migration that had already come across the river. But there were several dead wildebeest, few crocodiles, and so we left there, dashed up the river ways, and saw migration there. I'm pretty sure it was 6 that we saw altogether.
Oh. Beyond.
This has been-
Seen the birds. Yeah.